Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Friday's edition of Balance in Life. It is episode 47, and it marks 1 year exactly from the time we started doing Balance in Life sessions. So, thank you for being here to celebrate with us. And thank you for helping us to get to this point. If this is your first time, welcome to Balance in Life. If it's not, welcome back. I'm Crystal Tyler Mackey, happy to welcome you on behalf of the Human Development Program team and our partners, North Carolina Cooperative Extension. The first thing we want to do is kind of find out who's here. And there's a couple people who've been on, a few, 2 to 4. Looks like over a third have been on at least 5, maybe up to 10, but more than half have been on more than 10. You try not to miss. So thank you for being here. We want to, acknowledge that you are just as much a part of this as we are. A couple weeks ago, Alan was on talking about teamwork. And some of you posted that you feel like part of the team. And guess what? We feel like you're part of the team too. So as we celebrate, we wanted to take a moment and just kind of share sort of the how we got here. And so this will be a lighthearted moment of celebration, but also just a reminder to practice what we talk about. And so many of our speakers have talked about the importance of taking time to reflect and taking time to be grateful. Most recently, my friend Don Burton from Prairie View A&M University in Texas had a whole session on, pressing forward with resolve and gratitude. And so I was going to do a quick call out of the moment, and we thought, now let's actually celebrate, let's take the whole session and just kind of celebrate, the journey and where we've come from. So a year ago, a year ago this week, I got an email from our Office of Communications and Marketing at Virginia Tech. Governor Northam had just announced that schools were going to be closing in Virginia for the remainder of the year. And many of us as parents were like, oh, whoa, right? How are we going to do this? What are we going to do, right? So if you go back a year, many of us had not been working at home. And then a shift came and we suddenly had to be working from home. We knew our kids were going to be home, at least in Virginia. Our kids were going to be home for 2 weeks, but lo and behold, after 2 weeks, we thought they'd be going back to school. But that moment came, and it was a realization that we were in this for a longer haul than what we thought. And so, how are we going to do this? So, I got this reach out saying, "Can you give us some media talking points? We need to do a media release on how to establish positive experiences, for children." And so as I was writing and I, wrote the media release and the key points and sent that back out, I had this notion that people might need a little bit more than just something they can read on a flat page. So maybe we do a webinar. So I had this notion, it was on a Wednesday. So I reached out to most of the people whose pictures you see here. When you hear me say on behalf of the Human Development Program team, well, that's who I reached out to. And I said, I have a thought. I want to do a webinar on Friday. This was Wednesday, by the way. This is Wednesday. So I want to do it on Friday because starting Monday, families are going to need, if they have children in school, they're going to need to be ready to hit go. Let's try to give them some tools and resources so that they have the weekend to kind of process, prepare, and be ready to hit go on Monday with this new news. Do you want to partner with me? Will you partner with me for this one webinar? And the team said, yes, we'll do it. And I said, great. So I immediately put a Zoom link together. We set it up and I was like, I'll lead the session. Y'all want to help support. And so that's what we did. We set up this one webinar on that Friday a year ago, and it was called Positive Experiences for Children at Home. And what we did was we thought, do we need to ask if people want more? Maybe they'll want one more deeper session. I don't know. So we put a poll in there and we asked the participants, do you need more support in this space, right? In this human development arena? There are other things that you want. And we had some things like how to be home with young children. People were joking at that time about, oh my goodness, at the end of this, these couples are going to be home. At the end of this, quarantine time, we're going to either have a lot of divorces or a lot of babies, right? So people were kind of joking like that. So do you need something on marital relations while you're, at home? So we listed some things supporting the older adults or older adults, changes in lives of the older adults in our lives, like all these things. And then we said, and what else? And so we thought maybe there'd be one more. And the responses were like, we need all of this. And there were these other things posted in the chat. And so what we thought was going to be one webinar, maybe two, it's kind of funny when we look back and say, oh my gosh, we're at episode 47. And we just still keep going. It's just kind of funny moment. We said, okay, well, do we go through the end of March? Okay, we go through the end of April. And then we get toward the end of April and we're like, okay, so did we go through the end of May? And we get to the end of May and we're like, okay, I guess we're going through June. And then it just kept going. So anyway, just thought you might like to know some of the backstory that no one set out to have this as a series. We thought it was going to be a webinar, maybe two. Once we got the feedback and we got into a team meeting, the thought was, okay, we probably need to name this. So we're tossing around all these things. And one of the people who's pictured here, Sonia Mitchell, said, Crystal, everything you're talking about sounds like balance in life. And that was like, we all said, yes, that's it. And so that's the name was born, Balance in Life. So we're going to spend some time today just kind of rethinking through some of the places we've been, the things you've shared, and calling out some nuggets that we've gotten from it. So I'm going to stop sharing, and you see my celebration lights. I'm going to kick it over to Bethany to get us going.
Thank you, Crystal, and good morning to everyone. I am really excited also, and it kind of hit us all of a sudden. It crept up awesome, and we were going to do just a little call out to this, and then Crystal and I said, no, what have we learned this whole year is to stop and celebrate. And so as Crystal referenced, here is our basic slide for that very first presentation, which was before Balancing Life was Balancing Life, before a session became a series. And it's just fun, these next few slides, to look back at all the things that we covered, all the people, the special people that joined in, and including you guys as the audience. So I hope you have fun with this. So then April 10th was when we finally put Balancing Life into the title. A real basic slide. You'll see how the slides progress. Crystal's getting all sorts of partners and banners up there. But we got that title nailed down, and we started a collaboration with North Carolina Extension. That is the beauty of having that team that Crystal showed us. Man, the connections and the depth of the partnerships across, even state boundaries, and that began a beautiful partnership. At least 8 different North Carolina Extension specialists have come on as presenters, because Crystal and I and the team are not the experts, but we know how to find them, and we pull them in here to deliver what we need. And we're so grateful for all of the partners.
And then, can I talk about the co-host?
Yes,
okay.
Please. It's a funny story.
This is kind of a funny story. So, so you saw the picture, you saw the team. We said this was, we named it Balance in Life. And then, I'm hosting. And so I'm at a team meeting one day, and I said, I need someone who has strong Wi-Fi from the team. Who on the team can be on each of the next sessions that we have that has strong Wi-Fi? So if something goes crazy and mine goes down, the meeting doesn't stop mid-meeting. And so Bethany was in a place and she said, well, I plan on being on the next few, and I have strong Wi-Fi. So enter Bethany as the official co-host. So you think it was like all planned out. I love that Bethany is the official co-host now, but it really came because she could be on the sessions and she had strong Wi-Fi.
That's extension, isn't it? It's just what you need in the moment and go. But it worked out wonderfully. So we definitely had to highlight, after about a month of us going and this really becoming an every Friday morning kind of a thing, we had a very special guest, and you see Herman as one of our co-hosts this morning as well, and he comes in from time to time to co-host, but we merged on a Friday because he delivers another monthly webinar, and it broadened our audience, and he knew the presenter and what we were going to be talking about. He's like, can we just merge our two for that Friday? And wow, the response. Mr. Alan Rasmussen, and you see Claire is on here this morning too from the Human Development team. She is the connector. Remember I said the team has all these networks and connections. Claire brought Alan to us. She said, this guy is amazing. He is so real, and pitched this topic we're all going through this. What can we do to kind of like circle the wagons? And he just crushed it in the response from all of you that were there for that first session. And it was just overwhelming. And we knew this guy was probably going to come back, and he did, time and time again. We're thinking more than 9 sessions, individual sessions he has now led. But this slide just reminds us of how far we've come, in my opinion. I don't know how many of you all were with us, but we really did a session to teach us how to wear our masks. And we were joking this morning that some of us didn't even own like a real good mask. Like I was using a bandana, I think in the beginning. I'm like, oh, this will pass. We don't need to invest money in this. Now we, have about 15 different ones. They have to match our outfits. But yeah, we had to learn how to put the mask on. We were worried about whether to sanitize our groceries or not. Did we need to spray them down? Did we need to quarantine our groceries in our garage before we brought them in? All sorts of crazy stuff. So we've come a long way. And a little bit more on the serious side, but we have together tackled some incredibly important, heavy, difficult conversations, and in 30 minutes have really been able to dissect and provide that platform for people to share, to feel like we're in this place where we had become a community by this point, talking and delving into some of this stuff, but people were really going through it. And just to be able to be on in a community talking about whatever it was that was the stressor in your life, the adversity that you were facing, and knowing that someone else could validate, I'm going through that too. And so we wanted to recognize that. We have covered a wide range of really difficult things. And some of those have led to follow-up sessions to dive deeper in, because we have heard from people saying, please, 30 minutes wasn't enough. We need to do more. And that did give birth to a 3-part session on the racial conversations and the racial healing that did transform into a couple of follow-up Wednesday sessions that were an hour longer about mental health. That made us think, gosh, we need more sessions, a special session just on trauma and secondary trauma. And we had a special speaker who gave an hour-long presentation as a follow-up to that. So we haven't been afraid to tackle those issues, and we haven't been afraid to pull in the experts that can help us to discover, a little bit more about it as well. And then we've also had to take a step back from some of that heavier stuff and just reset, refresh, regroup, right? And I think that's where a lot of us are right now. We are happy today to celebrate, but we are tired. There is burnout, and that is real. And every time we think we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, there might be one more barrier. But we've always tried to remind one another, and I think our presenters have done such a great job of being uplifting and reminding us, take the good out of whatever the challenges are and figure out how you're going to use it to move forward. And we even became our own acronym. We have dubbed ourselves the ABC team, thanks to the first letters in our names, Alan, Bethany, and Crystal. And sometimes an H. Herman is, off and on because of the co-hosting duties he has for another program. He's with us. And so it has just been a really fun personal relationship that's developed between us that serve as the co-host, but as the team as a whole, when we get together on Zooms, it's like we're in person, and the love is real. So the whole human development team is just amazing. And we decided from the feedback and the interest as a team to move forward with a spin-off series. And some of you are probably participants in that. Regular Balancing Life attendees were really eager for more time with Alan, and in a space where they could have their mics and their cameras on and sharing and really building those resiliency skills. And so we started that this month. We are on our 5th session next week, and it has been phenomenal. So thank you all for that. Last but not least, this journey is continuing. We got the 2021 calendar up. we are celebrating today. We're taking the time to reflect and be grateful and celebrate, but we're also looking forward, and we're excited about everything that is going to come our way in 2021. And we're also preparing for the challenges that we know are going to come our way as well. But I just wanted to lift up some of the great speakers, participants. There's a quote from a participant from the chat box. And some of the just, Crystal uses the word nuggets, but those really like those aha moments, and you all know where to find our videos. And so when I was creating this slideshow last night, I must have re-listened to so many episodes, and it was not work for me. It was so, I think that's why I came in so excited this morning, because it was so refreshing. So I would encourage you all to take the time when you need it to turn it on and listen to that 30 minutes and get refreshed, recharged. But yeah, our journey is going to continue. But for today, we are celebrating and we are grateful. So Crystal, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Bethany. I hope y'all enjoyed that walk down memory lane. I did get a chat from someone that is a first timer. So welcome. As you just heard, you can go check out any of the previous recordings. I'm not going to share where they are yet. We'll share that in a little bit so that you can find them, but they are there. And we've also heard you loud and clear that, we keep going. And so we keep going until, there's reason to stop or transition to something different. But so happy to have Claire on with us. We have two team chairs of our human development program team, Claire Lillard and Katrina Kirby. Katrina and a number of our other human development teammates are supporting a large poverty simulation event today. And so that's where they are. They'd usually be on with us as well, but glad that Claire can be here. Herman is here. And so we've asked them to share just a couple of whatever it is they want to share in, a minute or two from the Balance in Life series. So Claire, I'm going to come to you first. And Claire brought us Alan.
Thanks. Yeah, and that was another example of flexibility. I had Alan coming to do a talk with our Northern District Family and Consumer Sciences Extension agents on resiliency, and then COVID hit, and so he couldn't give that presentation for us, and he was so excited to do it. As you guys know, he's very excited about all of the things Zen's about, but he was very excited to do that. So I said, well, how about, do you mind getting on that Zoom platform, with a larger audience across not only Virginia, but North Carolina? And he was very excited to do so. And so I'm really happy. And he loves you guys. He loves doing this. He sent me an email saying it had changed his life, just to be involved with this whole community, not only extension folks, but those of you that listen each week. And I understand he and Crystal are getting together for a barbecue sometime soon when Crystal's coming through town or something. But anyway, he is a great guy. And that was just another example of flexibility and, hey, can you do this? And it worked out. So, and I think that's, what I really appreciate about this whole thing is teamwork. Like Crystal said, she came and said, how about this? She came on a Wednesday. I want to do this Friday. What do you think? And we're like, okay, you can do it. If anybody can, you can, Crystal. And then it's just turned into this great opportunity for us to get together as a team to share ideas, to come up with a name, to be presenters ourselves, and to get, give ideas for other presenters. And, and then teamwork, working, with people that are on the session each week. And I've been on most of them, and I enjoy it just both professionally and personally. It's a lot of folks said in the chat, it's a great way to, to end the week and get re-energized. And I agree with that. And I would really want to thank Crystal, Bethany, and Herman, because I always feel so, no matter what the topic, even if it's one of the harder topics that we've talked about, feel welcome and just feel good about what we've done in this half hour. And I really appreciate, and your guys as co-hosts is fantastic. So thank you guys very much. Crystal, thank for the idea. Bethany, Herman, everybody that's participated, it's been great. And I look forward to continued participation in 2021.
Thanks, Claire. Thanks for saying yes and trusting me when I said It's Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday afternoon too, not even Wednesday morning. I'm like, oh, it is Friday. Like, okay. So here
You're
we
like,
are.
okay.
All right, Herman.
And it works, so that's good.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Herman, what do you have for us this morning?
All right. Well, Crystal asked me to jump on because I guess I told her videos weren't showing right, and she said, "Well, why don't you come on and show them for me so that they will show right?" And so this whole program has just made me step my game up on the technology side, and pretty much forced me to be the guru and go digging up information on how do you make this work. Go, Herman, we want to do this next week. Can we do it? Yeah, sure, we can do it. I have no idea how to do it at the moment, but then I go dig it up and figure out how to do it. And I was just amazed at the number of people. I mean, we have, I think the first few ones I was on, it was over 300 people. I was like, my goodness, where are all these people coming from? We're reaching so many people. And I also learned that 30 minutes is the key. I mean, it's a short session, but you really have to get out all the good stuff. I mean, you don't get any fluff, you don't get any halfway falling asleep. No, it's exciting from the beginning to end because it's only 30 minutes. So you're cramming a lot into that 30 minutes. And, it was good to know that so many people are going through the same things that I'm going through. I learned so much more than I expected. These programs like when you think of balancing life, okay, that's going to be great. It's the same old thing, but it hasn't been anything but the same old thing. It's been something great every time I've been here. I use the stuff that I've learned here in my personal life and in my professional life. I've made new friends and found out new people that I can network with to get information. It's just been a win-win all the way around, and I just enjoy being here.
Well, thanks, Herman. So I forgot that the start was you telling me my videos needed some work. I needed to up my game. Right.
What is this? No, Crystal, no.
Teamwork, right? That's
That's
the whole
right.
teamwork thing.
And Crystal has, we first hooked up with the red carpet. That's Crystal. I said, please help me with this. And so we've been helping each other out. It's a great team. And Bethany and I have always worked together. We've been the dream team from when Kathy Suppin, dubbed us the dream team back in the day. I don't know how many years ago. The time goes by so quickly. But I just enjoy working with everybody here and just so glad to be here.
Me too. So here we are. Speaking of time, always going fast. We say that every week, right? We did start off with the first 2 or 3 webinars as 1 hour, and we quickly realized we needed to transition to 30 minutes. So here's a little trivia. So if you've been on before, just got a little trivia. And you can post in the chat if you have a guess. How many people have attended at least one session of Balance in Life? Do you have a guess?
Oh,
I see some people posting. What do you see? What do people say?
I have no idea.
Over 2,500 people have been on a live session, at least one live session of Balance in Life. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And that doesn't count who's watched a recording, right? Who's watched it later. All right. What topic do you think, and you don't have to have the exact name, but what topic do you think garnered the highest number of attendees? You want to post that in chat? What topic do you think it was?
I would guess it was back there when we were talking about should we wash our groceries.
It wasn't. I see a lot of self-care and teen mental health. Nope. They got to the 300s. Resiliency, kids in school. Nope. Alan. Nope. Financial stress. No. I should tell this story. Lorraine. Yes, Lorraine. Bonnie. Yes. It was in June. And speaking of quick shifts, we had a speaker coming on. The top housing specialist in the country was coming on to talk with us about how to ensure our homes were, in a space that could keep the virus at bay, indoor air quality. I mean, had worked really hard to get this specialist out of LSU. And I just felt like we just had to go there. And so when I, at the 11th hour, at the end of the day, it was after work hours, I reached out to my Coming Together for Racial Understanding teammates. And I said, I feel like we need to make this shift. Are you available to go live on Friday? And they were like, so less than 48 hours notice. And when they said yes, then I reached out to Bethany, to Claire and Katrina as the chairs. I was like, I'm not feeling like anybody wants to talk about Housing Friday. I think we really need to go there and talk about, racial understanding. Our team is available. We can do it because it happens to be something else that I do in my life and world. And so Thursday morning, maybe 10 a.m. or so, I sent out the registration link. We had switched everything around. I profusely apologized to the housing specialist. And we had so many people. Zoom tops out at 500. We had to live stream to Facebook at 556 people. And it was still so many that we had to go there again the next week. And we brought on our North Carolina Coming Together for Racial Understanding team to join us in that. And that was another 552 people. So we had to live stream that one to Facebook too. How many different speakers have we had? This one's hard. So I'm going to give it to you. This is episode 47.
47.
Nope. Some we had panels. And some we've had repeat presenters. So this is a harder one. 55.
Okay.
Had 55 different speakers. And here's what I didn't want to give away, right? Y'all post in the chat, where can you find previous recordings of Balance in Life? You hear us say it, you see it in the emails. You even would have seen it in this registration email. You know where to find them, right? You can find them in more than one place. Yep. YouTube, you can find it on our Virginia Cooperative Extension YouTube page. You can also find it on our Virginia Cooperative Extension website. And if you have an email from me, it's always going to be listed somewhere in the bottom. So, all right, a quick call out. We did some surveys way back in probably late summer, and then we hit it again in October. And we asked you for some responses. So 400, thank you, Bethany. I see the post to the link to the playlist. 476 responses, and we asked a bunch of questions. Here's a couple of things. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most positive, the likelihood of actually applying something that you learned. That typical response, average response was 8.51. So really gleaning something in that 30 minutes. And then tailoring and teasing it out, right? That professional life, but also in the personal life, right? So people were really likely to be able to apply something to both personal and professional lives. And most respondents affirmed that what they have received, they share out with someone else. So that ripple effect just kind of keeps going and spilling out. And then we did focus groups. We did focus groups in January. Some of you were on to give some focus group feedback. And some of the themes that popped out, fall right in line with the quantitative survey. The series has impacted or helped me personally and professionally. Here was a quote that the researchers included. This webinar has been my balance. I was like, that works for me because that sounds like me. And another quote was, it reminds me to breathe. And that feels like some of what you've been posting in the chat even today. In the professional realm, helped me better serve my clients or students or whoever I'm serving. Taking care of yourself helps you better take care of the clients or program participants or students. So those are some call outs. And this was one really impactful quote that also came from the focus groups. Intentional self-care helped me consider more how I can help my clients with their personal self-care as they're struggling with trauma and stress. Therapeutic professionals need help in dealing with their own trauma. You may be good at helping others, but you also need help in caring for yourself. So those were some really important call outs from the focus group. We are at our end, and I wanted to kick it back over to Bethany for a quick reflection.
So I just have to use the word grateful, and because, yeah, I'm a co-host and sometimes I'm a presenter, but at the end of the day, I am a human and a parent and a worker and a spouse, and just trying my best to muddle through like everybody else. And so The same thing with the resilience series. And Crystal and I actually warned Alan when we started that. We're like, we're participating too. Like, we're kind of your little geek squad. Like, we're your followers also. And I have gleaned so much just in all of the different expertise that has been brought to the sharing sessions. And that's not just from the presenters. It is a lot of really good information just gleaned from that chat room. And even yesterday when putting this presentation together, Crystal, I still have the copies of the chat that get downloaded. Yeah. And just reading through some of that, I didn't pull out the quotes, but we could have, was so rewarding. And so I'll end with what one of our Resilient series participants shared with us the other day, is that, wow, this has become a community and a family in this quick of a time. And I feel supported. I have seen others grow through the conversations that we're having from week to week. I could say the same thing about Balancing Life. I mean, this is a community and we are all feeling, even in this virtual setting, and even with you all muted and no cameras on, we are connecting on a high level in that chat box. And so thank you all for making me feel a part of this community and for uplifting me on many a Friday when I have needed it. And I have a brave smile on, but I needed to hear the words. So thank you. And I'm excited to continue.
Yeah, me too. So, and even the genesis of the first webinar was with all the tools, all the skills. I mean, my PhD and my experience is in human development, family and child development, right? I have lots of tools, resources. I have a great job. I was able to transition to home. My children are doing well. They had all the tools that they needed, and I felt the burden. So if I was feeling the burden, I thought, okay, we need other people to come together because we're all feeling something, or most of us are. And so that's sort of where that space has been, that we have all been able to be together. And when I tell new speakers, like, the chat box is, I'll say it, I don't say it this way, but I'll say it to you. The chat box is real. It's live. Like, we are really engaged in the chat box. And every speaker that's been on for the first time always says they had no idea. They've never been in a session that has such an active chat box. And I said, it really is a community and a community group and feel. And so thank you all for making this. Like, you see us, you see our faces, you hear us call out our teammates, but it wouldn't be what it was without you. And so as you have thoughts and ideas and additional needs, please share them. But we have heard you loud and clear that this is not to be a COVID thing, that we keep going. And so that's where we are. We keep going. And part of how we keep going is by you letting us know, what you need and what the things are that are pressing, on your heart, in your mind, and in your spaces where you are at any given moment. So I hate to call this to a close, but yeah, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna have my clapper one more time, because yay, I'm gonna celebrate all of us, because there is no balance in life without the participants. So thanks to everyone for being here, for always being here, for sharing the word. I hope that if this was your first time, you got a sense of who we are. And I love, Bethany, your call out to go check out some other recordings or re-listen to them. I cannot believe it's been a year when we thought it was a 1 or 2 webinar, and then we kept saying, did we go another month? Did we go another month? But thank you all. Appreciate everyone. It's been great. It's our uplift on Fridays too. So thank you so much, Bethany, Herman, and Claire. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you too.
All right.
This is
Bye.
amazing.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.